Hey folks, I'm glad you're here. My name is Chris, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how I wear a gun while I run. I am definitely one of those people who thinks that if you can carry a gun, you should. And the route that I run goes along a lake trail, and there have been people in our community who have come across coyotes and other wild animals while on walks and runs. So in my opinion, it's probably a good idea to have something on you in those kinds of situations, just in case something takes a turn for the worse. I've experimented with a handful of different methods of carrying while running. I started with just not carrying anything at all, which is not ideal. Then I started carrying my wife's tiny little Ruger LCP. Didn't love that, mostly because I can't hit the broadside of a barn with that gun. It's just too small. My giant meat hooks cannot hold on to that thing optimally while shooting. I also experimented with hip and chest packs. Chest packs are kind of what I've turned to for the last couple of years until I came across the leisure carry. Once this thing got sent out to me and I started wearing it with sport shorts and sweatpants, it completely changed the game. And then I started experimenting with using it while running, and it works really, really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you down to my waist level, show you how I set this thing up before putting my gun on. And then I'm actually going to bring you with me via drone. You guys are going to follow me around so that you can see how this performs when it comes to retaining the gun comfortably while I run. I've got two other videos about the leisure carry specifically. One is a dedicated review of this thing and how it works and how it performs overall. The other one is how to set this thing up optimally, how I set up my pants actually to accept this. So some of that is going to play into this video. If you've seen those videos before, then you're really going to understand what's going on here. If not, you should be able to understand how this is going just as I explain it. Let's take you down to my waist level and let's get this thing on. Welcome to my waistline. Happy to have you here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up at the 5-ish o'clock position, and then we are going to get the gun on as well. So how I have my shorts set up is actually pretty important to the success of this. At least I think this is what makes it so that I can do this really easily. I have the drawstring for my shorts set up in a slip knot so that as I pull, it tightens and it holds on pretty well. I am going to tie it at the end when we get done with putting the gun on, but for now we're going to leave it a little bit looser, and I'm going to give myself a good amount of slack. So I'm just going to thread this guy down behind me. This is definitely the hardest part of getting this whole thing set up, is just making sure that this is hooked on the pants, especially when I can't see it here at the back. I just gave it a little bit of tighten to try to thread the drawstring up over it, because if the drawstring gets under it, which it is, I'm not going to have a good amount of stability. So fishing around for that drawstring, making sure to get that up into the hooks before I snap them closed, because that's what's going to hold them. And I think I'm good there. Boom. And now I have this thing set up so that I can carry my gun along this line. So now, before I tighten things down all the way, I'm going to get my gun in here, which is my P365X macro. It is light bearing. We've got an optic on here, so it's not the lightest gun in the world, but it is still very thin and comfortable. Probably the biggest gun that I would personally want to run with. And obviously, I'm just going to jam this thing down the back of my pants. Now you totally can run the clip over your pants and over the belt, and it will latch on underneath the belt over your pants. That's how I am running it today. And now it disappears nicely behind me. Now, final step, I am going to give her a good tighten, and I'm actually going to square knot instead of tying a bow. I'm not a big bow guy, and it's pretty easy to get these specific shorts undone, even with that square knot. And now I'm all set to go run while still concealed carrying. All right, we are ready to go hit the road. I'm gonna go get my shoes on, and then when we get back, I'm going to talk about some considerations, but let's go get on our run.
So, something you guys might notice here, we're coming up on my 1 mile mark. I am wearing a hip pack, but that is for the drone so that I can put it away when I don't need it. It is not sturdy enough to carry my gun. My gun is at the 5 o'clock position, so on my right, and you can probably see better than I can feel how much that thing is or is not bouncing, and how good it is or is not concealing. Again, here in Utah, I don't really care that much about how it's concealing, so that's not the biggest deal to me. But what's more important is how comfortable it is, and typically the less bounce there is, the more comfortable it's going to be. And as far as how it feels like it's not moving a lot. Let's go ahead, and even though there's a sheriff up ahead, let's pop the handle of the gun out, and you guys can watch the gun and see what it's doing back there for a second while you listen to my heavy breathing. And then my shirt just goes back over it. I don't know. It feels good to me.
All right, folks, after a haircut, a shave, and a shower by request from my wife, I am back to give you my details from the run that I just did. So we did 4 miles in the end, which was awesome. I did 8-minute miles. I was just under 32 minutes, so it was like 7:58 miles or something like that. And I really didn't have any discomfort with my run setup except one thing, and it was that the optic was kind of rubbing into my hip as the gun was doing its just ever so slight bouncing motion that you guys probably saw from the behind me view with the drone. So what this comes down to is I don't set up the gun perfectly every single time. I usually set it up optimally for the most part. What I needed to do is I needed to shift the gun just a little bit left, probably the whole leisure carry, a little bit left on my back. It was sitting a little too close to 4 o'clock, not close enough to 5 o'clock. The closer to 5 o'clock, the more flat the gun would have sat up against my back, and then I wouldn't have had that kind of canting that caused the optic to dig into my muffin top. The benefits of being 10 pounds over what you want to be. Anywho, it was uncomfortable, but I didn't really notice it until about halfway through the run, and it didn't leave a hot spot or a blister or anything. I've run as much as 10 miles with this carry setup and not had issues, so it really does come down to just how well you set it up for yourself. But as you can see, it doesn't really slow down my runs. That was goal pace for me. The concealability is pretty good. The accessibility is also pretty good, and I like it a lot better than wearing a chest pack or something like that. Chest packs are just so bouncy, especially when you carry a gun, in my opinion. And while I love them for other things, for running, they're definitely not my favorite anymore. Last things to mention here. This is the 11.5-inch leisure carry. They have a 14.5-inch if you run a really wide setup, but I love the 11.5, and I think I could technically run like a sidecar style setup with this thing. This thing does come in at $70, and there's a link down in the description that'll take you over to the leisure carry website so that you can purchase one. Definitely less expensive than a chest pack setup. Maybe you could find a chest pack on Amazon that's cheaper than this, but I doubt it's gonna perform super great. I also wanted to address, because I'm sure someone's going to ask, why I don't carry appendix while I run. I've tried it out before and didn't like it very much, just because when my right leg comes up, the holster is like right here. So here's my leg down. When it comes up, it kind of pushes the holster up and down and up and down. Not only is that uncomfortable for my leg, but then the holster starts to rub my pelvis as well. So I found that carrying it at the 5 o'clock is the least bouncy and the least invasive and the least uncomfortable way to carry a gun on your waistline while running. Your mileage may vary. Try it at your appendix, see if that works for you. Either way, the leisure carry will make it a lot easier. I do not wear pants with belt loops anymore ever since getting the leisure carry. I was skeptical when Ron sent it out to me initially, but it works so fantastic. I haven't used a real belt in a year and a half, unless I'm going to like church or something. One other product that has completely changed the way I do things when it comes to guns, something that I use every single day, is gonna be my Axel X-Core earbuds. They're having a 50% off sale right now. Otherwise, I wouldn't mention them in this video, but the clock is ticking. So use the link down in the description to go over to the Axel website, and you'll find these 50% off. If you're seeing this video after that ends, then there is a discount code that you can use in order to save yourself 15%. These earbuds have completely replaced all of my ear pro. They're my favorite thing that's ever been sent to me by a company. The Leisure Carry comes up really, really close second to that, but I wear these everywhere. I wear them to work, where I work in a noisy truck, blocks out the noise there. I wear them when I go on runs. I didn't today because the Bluetooth of them to my phone would have messed with the Bluetooth of my mic that I was wearing so that I could talk to you. So I didn't wear them on today's run, but I usually do. I also wear them to the gym, and if I'm just walking around trying to listen to something, then I throw these things in my ear. Obviously, I also use them at the gun range, and I won't be using anything else anytime soon. These make muffs completely obsolete, in my opinion, and they're the best in-ear ear pro that I've tried so far. Again, if you want to check out Axel, use the link down in the description. They do have muffs. If you are super into muffs, they are Bluetooth as well. They're fantastic. I love those more than any other muff that I've ever tried, but I don't use them much because of the X-Core. Folks, if you liked this video, I'd appreciate if you would like and subscribe. Make sure to go and follow me on Instagram if you are interested in more consistent and daily content. And as always, I super appreciate it when people use the affiliate links down in the description. But I will catch you later.